right, man. So get in your groove. I mean, what are we really focusing on? Just do your build.
Okay.
We talked about a few things there. Just do your build. I don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what he's going to do. Just play your normal game. Send your Overlord Scout in. You know, keep injecting. Let's smash it. Good luck. Have fun, man.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to just kind of throw him in the game here. I don't want to be like, do this, and remember to do this, and remember to do this. I'm just kind of like, just play it. Just play your build, and we will see how you go. This honey chicken is the bomb, by the way. Oh. Teddy, what up, dude? First time watching the stream after watching YouTube videos for months and getting from Diamond 1 to Masters 1 in 2 months. Dude, that's amazing. Thank you very much. Congrats. That's a huge step as well. Wait, Diamond 1 to Masters 1? I was thinking it was Diamond 3 to Masters 3. Oh, okay, yeah, that's still huge. That's still a huge gap. That's awesome, dude. Sorry, guys. Let's put it on this camera. Here we go. How many drones at your third before making lings is the goal? Against 2-1-1, says Jaden. I like to make at least 9 or 10. So I'm a greedy boy. Assuming my opening is smooth. If my opening gets disrupted, maybe less. If my opening's really good, maybe even 16 drones on the third. I was really proud. I remember once, back in early 2016, maybe mid. It was right. Actually, it was like mid 2016, I guess, or just before the middle of the year. It was when Beyond started to. He just won GSL and started to destroy everybody. And I was talking to Scarlett, and she was saying, "Oh yeah, I practice with Beyond all the time, and I beat him 90% of the time." And this was when Beyond was like so good, but he was going 2-1 every game. And Scarlett was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Oh yeah, just do." And I'm not saying she learnt it from my thing, but she was like, yeah, you know, your guide for rule of 1 gas. She's like, yeah, basically just that. You know, you just stay on 1 gas, go super mineral efficient, build lots of queens. And she's like, yeah, I get 16 drones on my third before building lings. I defend the 2-1-1, build a few more drones, you know, add on the tech and the upgrades, and I'm just way ahead. And I just like swamp him. And I was like, that's awesome. So I remember that gave me. That was the original time when I realized just how far you could push that economy if you're super efficient. I was like, well, if Scarlet can get to 16 against Beyond, who's just won a GSL, maybe we can.
Our forces are under attack.
Why are we staring at it? Why were we staring at that Overlord for so long? Come on, spend that lava. Yeah, keep it going, keep it going. Keep the injects going, get the creep going. You're doing really good, but whenever they try to disrupt you like this, you know, you gotta just keep that kind of flow going where you keep building overlords, you know, queue up more overlords right now, keep queuing drones. Now, you scouted a reacted factory. That's essentially what you scouted. You don't need to overthink it. It's just, hey, this is a Hellion opening, so let's focus on building lots of, you know, queens, do our normal thing, and try to saturate up that third as quickly as possible.
All right.
You're doing really good, man. There was a moment there where he was like, "Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta do this," and I was just like, "Come on, come on, come on!" I was like, you know, you can't just have that 10 lava sitting there for so long. So I just wanted to really like press him there and like have my voice in his head be like, "Fucking do it, fucking do it." Yeah, Scarlet's a beast. I'm not as experienced with pool hatch gas, Jaden. So I'm not 100% sure, dude. You're doing really good, but you can always have a few more Zerglings. You can go up to like 15 or 20 at this point because you got to make sure Hellions can't just YOLO in. We've got Hellbats at the 3rd, so let's go deal with that. Now basically you just want to make sure you keep your queens like spread out and you individually just kind of pull them back away from it in an arc. Run the drones and then basically just individually pull your queens back into a sort of concave against it. Keep reinforcing more queens down here. And if those Hellbats spread out, that's when your Lings engage. There we go. Alright, A-move the Lings, A-move the Queens, and just focus on your economy. The moment it starts crumbling and you can A-move, you've got to go back to just like put guys back on the economy, you know, get the upgrades, the 4th base, etc, etc. We've got 30 drones on your natural, so you can grab another 10 of those and put them on your 3rd. You're doing really good. And whenever you shut down pressure like that, what are we missing? Spork rollers. So something we forgot is we lost our Overlord early. Whenever you lose it, you don't have the scouting to know if it's a starboard or not. You just have to assume. We should have put down spores at 4 minutes 30. Skipping on that was very greedy, but especially against any Hellbat pressure, the first thing you should always be thinking about is it's very common for them to follow up with Banshees. This is the most common follow-up to Hellbats.
Okay.
So just keep droning during this. You'll be absolutely fine here. Just keep focusing on your economy and put the absolute minimal amount of focus on the defense because you've shut down his map control. You've killed his Hellions. You've killed his Banshee. All you need to do is spread creep and focus on your economy and really try to explode into the middle stages.
Okay.
So this is something where I'm trying to talk about this as we get to these points where it's like, look, you shut down the pressure, Turn can't have anything else now. Like, your focus should just be on your economy right now. You don't need to be stressed out about what else could be happening because there's nothing else that could be happening. You know what the limits are. Right now, economy should be more important than creep. He's taking a long time to adjust his economy.
Well, I didn't mean to build a spine crawler.
If I remember correctly, he doesn't use camera
Let's
hotkeys.
build a baneling nest. There we go.
He's taken so long to fix up the economy. It's okay. It'll get there. Main base is undersaturated, right?
Under attack.
It's a habit. He's building 5 overlords. I'm just going to let him get in his own rhythm now. I don't want to tell him what to do. I think I already kind of gave him confidence at key points, which has made him explode into this stuff a lot more than usual, you know? Alright, so you're wasting a little bit of time there. Okay, that's fine. The overseer's there. Good job. Alright, so you're droning your 4th fully right now. This is a very ballsy maneuver since you haven't won any fights. That's okay. Keep spreading your creep and focus on non-stop units. Remember, your bases are already a bit oversaturated.
Okay.
And you didn't have your bases rallied to your 4th. There's a bit of an issue there. So this is just kind of forcing more APM out of yourself now, which we wouldn't want to be using. It was already a little bit questionable to be droning our 4th at this stage and we haven't won any fights. You can do this, but you've really got to focus on only units and creep spread from here. You know, start putting spotting Zerglings out all over the map and just massing these units like crazy. What's up, it's Color? Oh, this is our 2nd coaching session. We focused on Zerg vs Terran last time around, and I think that was when I got him focused on kind of doing the rule of 1 gas and kind of learning that build order.
Our forces are under attack.
And we talked about how to come back when behind as well in the previous session. Alright. I think he did focus on that counterattack a little bit longer than he should have. He should have been a kind of click in and forget about it. Oh my god, Windbreaker has so many SCVs. He just lost like 19 and he's at 70. Macro Terran. Oh my lord. That's insane. Is 17 hatch gas pool enough to stop it? At least in my experience, I don't think it's enough.
Metamorphosis complete.
You're not. The thing is, you're not playing pros Flappy Najib. It just comes down to you getting better at that response. So remember, never ever give yourself the feeling of like, oh well, maybe pros can respond with that, but I don't think I can. Not with something that's as micro-oriented as a 2-racks. As long as your second overlord spots like the SCVs coming in, and you're quick to react, which it'll take a bit of practice. But if you pull enough drones, like most Terrans, myself included, will fuck up their micro and let their guys get surrounded. I get where you're coming from. There is like a certain extent where it's like, well, you don't like see 6 Hellions and build 4 Zerglings and say, oh, I'm gonna micro these Zerglings like life and defend. It's like, no, like, yeah, like you wanna, obviously not toe the line of greed as much necessarily as pros do. But I think definitely it's something where you'd be surprised how well you can hold off against these 2 barracks and 3 barracks proxy plays just with a good drone pool. It's not advanced micro. It's just, I think a lot of people just A-move the drones, but all you need to do is 1 mineral walk and then 1 A-move. Usually will hold off against the 2 racks unless they got really good micro.
Our forces are under attack. A creep tumor is under attack.
Oh my gosh. There's nothing there. So one problem I see is that his main army very rarely spreads into a flanking position. Something I'm gonna write down here. Okay, don't leave the game.
Oh, shit.
That's alright.
I'm
no
sorry.
worries. Don't worry about it. Just open up the stream really quickly. I don't know if we'll even need to, but we just want to. That was a great game, by the way. Good game. Good game. Sorry. Jumping straight to that point. Yeah, good game. That was really fucking well done. That was awesome. So
jump into the stream, you said?
Yeah, just so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. Just keep it muted, but just so you can see what I'm looking at. But in the early stage, there was a moment where I felt like we were close to getting very, very distracted. Which was when this Marine came out and started shooting our Overlord. So the Overlord was moving to what is like a pretty good, I guess, position on most maps. But on this specific map, very simple adjustment. That Overlord can just be a little bit further north, up here.
Okay.
And then when it gets to 3 minutes, you can queue it to move down and then in. So it can go and that would be nice. So
that makes sense. Definitely
just something where, then we would have had the scout at the proper timing and we wouldn't have been as distracted. And the reason I'm talking about that is because there was a moment here. Put it on your camera, you were kind of staring at this Overlord while you should have been microing your Lings to try to get your 3rd and spending your lava. But, we really don't want to be wasting our APM focusing on that because it's like a distraction and we're like kind of trying to interpret our scouting at a point where the scouting isn't really that useful yet other than the fact that, hey, this is a reactive factory. It's just something where it was very close to you delaying this next 2 injects being spent for a little while, which is why I kind of piped in and was like, spend that lava, make sure we're building more Overlords and stuff and we don't get distracted here because he's already creating a disruption at your 3rd. So the fact that our Overlord also created another sort of disruption, it's just one of those dangerous points where it's very important to like focus extra on like, make sure I don't get supply blocked, make sure I spend my lava, make sure I inject my hatcheries, because it's very easy for those basic things to slip up when a few distractions come in. Other than that, we did a pretty good job here. You build your extra queens very early. One thing I noticed is that often we are a little bit slow to resaturate our main base. So your main often ends up a little bit below the minerals. So something that happened here, that I like to do is I like to just always manually build the drones and click them on the gas when I'm putting on that gas, or, manually build 3 and click them on the minerals to replace them. It's not a big deal. It's just a very small efficiency thing that can kind of be added in. Beyond that, definitely it was, hey, we know it's a Hellion opening. If we're not sure what's happening behind it, you've got to build those 4-minute 30 safety spores. And because we didn't do that, it actually worked out quite well because his Banshee kind of came across the map a little bit slower because he was so focused on the hellbats and whatnot. I think what was cool here is we did get to see kind of what the power of just spreading those queens out was to some extent. The hellbats, when they can't all just kind of hit a queen, and get splash damage, you know, it's kind of nice. Obviously, the hellbat's kind of split up a little bit here, which made our life a little bit easier. So we got to see the beginning of that. But what was important is you were... Let me look at your APM after the fight. Definitely, like, one of the biggest strengths with this build, and really any macro build, is after dealing with pressure, getting back into a nice kind of economic position. And there was this weird moment where I was like, where did all the workers in the main go? I guess it's just we never replaced them, did we? And then we put down the macro hatch, 2 Evo chambers, and then a baneling nest. And that combination just meant, yeah. The main base was like quite, you know, criminally undersaturated for a little bit there. And then, you know, once we got rid of those hellbats, it's like, there was that very important point where I was like, bam, trigger. Like, there's only 2 hellbats left. You got queens. You don't even need to look at this anymore. And I was immediately like piping in on the comms, and I was like, all right, go, man. You know, drones. Put your drones back to mining. Go back to injecting and, you know, do a macro cycle. Get your upgrades. Spread your creep. Because whenever you clean up a pressure like this, it's always something where if you can explode back into that economy and get everything running again, oh, it should be lovely. And if they ever hit you with such a fast hellbat timing that you don't have spores yet, or you've forgotten, there should also be a trigger, which I've built into my own brain, where cleaned up the hellbat pressure. Oh, do I have spores? Because there's always a Banshee that comes after the hellbats. It's just how hellbat builds tend to work, because that keeps them safe from a Roach or a Ling-Bane counter after they've lost all their Hellions. So Cloaked Banshee is just such a common follow-up. But you did a good job of recovering. We definitely could have... No, 4th base timing was good. Yeah, overall it was pretty damn good from there. And then, you know, doing some Ling counters was nice, kind of just swarming over the front army. There was definitely a few moments where if we want to be pedantic, we could say, you know what? You could have done this more efficiently by flanking in the frontal engagements a few times. You know, splitting your army in half and then going. But because you're both counterattacking and using things like fungal well, I don't think it's like that big of an issue. Definitely like the very first Marine tank push on your 3rd base, we did engage that a little bit hodgepodge. We were kind of like A-moving it, and we were kind of like watching our Ling counter while we went in, and luckily we just had such huge numbers, you know, it didn't matter. We were able to take a bit of a sloppy fight, which is something which often happens with this build order, right? You know, we're so busy spending our money and macroing, we kind of end up a little bit behind, but just try to, you know, remember you can flank against these armies, and it can make a massive difference with those Ling-Bane forces. If you just kind of box off your army, tell it to go around, and then A-move at the same time. Get the sick flank down, dude. But let's host up another one and hop into another game. I think that game was pretty good there. I think that was pretty nice.
Thank you. How about 16-bit? Does that sound okay to you?
Sounds good to me. Whatever you're comfy with. Definitely a more macro-oriented map here. I actually don't take the back base, funnily enough.
Really? I take it as my 3rd.
It's not a bad base at all. It's just because siege tanks can reach across there, so there's this very kind of annoying position. I don't think many people will take advantage of it, but if people set up a bunch of tanks across, it cuts off the entire ramp leading into that base, and then if they just ferry Marines over, you know, 1 or 2 medevacs at a time and set up like a really annoying spread, from that angle, it can be really frustrating. So I actually like expanding straight down the map or up the map along the edge for my first 4 bases, and only go to it as like a 5th.
Okay, so like what I do, I take the back base as my 3rd, but then my 5th I take as the one right next to that back base. Is that a bad base to take for my 5th?
Like the one in front of it, like just across the gap?
Just across the gap.
No, that's totally fine, because, I mean, you'll need to be defending that position anyway, so that's totally cool.
Okay, cool.
Because, yeah, it's like, well, you got to protect that area to protect that base. But, yeah, like when I was playing some mech, I realized I could just siege up tanks behind that mineral line on that front base there, and you reach so far into the main and the back base. It's like, ooh, it's crazy. That's cool. He says, let's see how many SCVs are.
Yeah, he was rallying some SCVs across the map.
You lost 19 SCVs to the first Ling run by and still had 72.
Damn, that's pretty impressive. Are we ready, or?
Yeah, I think he is. Good luck, have fun, dude. Says I play Terran like a Zerg. I like it. I like it. Drown your opponents in Marines. All right, man. Just getting your groove. I mean, no real big changes, right? We just want to make sure, you know, we're focusing on building those units. You know, go for your Overlord scouting at the normal time. Do your normal expansion pattern. You know, you don't need to change it. I was just mentioning that as like a nice little tidbit in case it becomes like the cool thing. And remember, Terran players are more hive-mindy than any other race, so they literally will not start doing it unless innovation or someone does it in GSL.
Okay.
There can be like, yeah, random creative Terran streamer, you know, Rough or someone will do it 37 times to great effect, and everyone will be like, yeah, but that's just Rough. And then they'll see it in GSL, and you'll only see that for 2 weeks. But until that kicks in, it should be fine. So just keep it up. Good luck, have fun. Let's really look to control this game, and I think the big focus is whenever you shut down those pressures, remembering to just, you know, explode into that economy. You know, try to be nice and streamlined with that economy management. I think you're getting better and better at it every game. Just keep it up. And if we are up against a Hellion opening, let's remember those Spore Crawlers if there is a Starport threat. Good luck, have fun, man.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff, guys. How are we all doing? Melty, I think we're good, but thank you so much for offering to help. That's actually the craziest thing. It's color. For Protoss players, like, you guys don't play Zerg vs Terran. To me, that's like the most insane thing. Zerg vs Terran is like such a big part of StarCraft for me. I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Flappy Najib says pool hatch gas is safer. I agree. I agree. Definitely getting out some early lings is nice. It's funny though when people go pool hatch gas and they don't leave their second Overlord at home, and then they get bunkers up. They're like first lings run across the map, and then the SCVs come in and put down the bunker, and they don't see it until they're finished because the hatch isn't even done either. And you're like, oh. Rule of one gas build. How much of a difference does it make to pull drones off gas after speed? I'm in Diamond 3, says Gripper. Yeah, good little amount. Just kind of kickstarts things a bit more, Gripper. You can absolutely play it while leaving on gas, and it's still going to be a pretty damn efficient build, dude. So if you're more comfortable with that, that's good. Yeah, you can. I mean, basically, it's like a minute where you pull off gas, right? A minute and 10 seconds is normally where you're off gas. So it's like, yeah, you mine you know, I don't know, 100 and something minerals in that time with those 3 drones. I don't know how much the exact number is, but it's pretty nice. That was a good little reaction there. Oh, the Reaper just bounced himself over the lings to safety, and then he almost ran back and died. He was doing some panic clicks. Did we ever figure out why Lambo builds a spawning pool on the edge of creep? Yeah, he said it's just to spot Ling-Bane. Because you don't really want to have an Overlord in your main base, but that allows him to see like Banelings more, like trying to hide in the corner of his base, and Lings like sneaking into his main and stuff like that. So it's actually a spotting spawning pool. And he says he doesn't really care about having the wall in, because if he just puts the queen in the gap in the minerals, it achieves the same thing. Yeah, I actually tweeted it. I tweeted the question at him. He tweeted in response. I retweeted when he responded his answer as well as my original question. Just cool. Cool to see. A few Koreans do it apparently. Laser does it as well. Oh, you gotta have your Zerglings in front guarding that, dude. Alright, game 2 on 16-bit. Let's write some notes, guys. Lings weren't guarding the creep tumor. Always have Lings in front when you put the tumor down. It's not the tumor!
Oh, well.
He's trying to get the scout in. It's like, yeah. Could have sent it here and then down. I'm not going to tell him anything this game. We're really going to let him just do his own thing. And we'll see how it goes. He's going to be a mech transition from Windbreaker. Windbreaker with a very nasty 46 supply block though. That hurts. That really hurts. No hellbat timing. Good to see you built these Zerglings. I was getting very nervous for him for a few seconds there. Where are those spore crawlers?
Oh yeah. Fuck.
You can put them down at 5 minutes most games and you'll be totally fine. But yeah, it's just the fact that he's consistently forgetting them, which definitely, you know, it could cause bigger problems. Banshee's actually going to be epically late this game because of that supply block. Very fast upgrades.
A creature is under attack.
So we went upgrades unnecessarily fast against a Hellion opening here. It's not the end of the world, you know, you can roll with that, but definitely something where if there's a bit heavier pressure, a little bit harder. More important to keep this drones producing, of course. And you're doing a good job at getting on top of that now. Evos were down super fast because +1 melee started at 520, which means the Evo had to start. Evos were down before 5 minutes. 5 minutes 30 is the earliest you need them versus Hellion openings. More important to defend the pressure, saturate your bases. So what does that mean? It means you're building queens, lings, spores, and droning really hard. And you can get those upgrades a little bit later. What are spine crawlorts? They're my favorite unit in the game. Banshee's gonna come in. Lair is very late. And I think that's actually a really good thing. For players who aren't super used to this build, as in doing it for many months and stuff. It's really good to like focus more on the other stuff and have the Lair a bit delayed. Like Lair was a little bit later than it needed to be this game. Lair was a little slow. Good economy though, so I don't mind it.
Mutation. Our forces are under attack.
Oh, it didn't A move. A move. Just clicked on the Viking. So what? Otherwise, could have got that Banshee there.
Our forces are under
Oh my lord, they still clicked on the Viking. He added the Overseer into the Queen hotkey. Awesome. I like it. That's good.
Our forces are under attack. Mineral field.
Oh, that Queen survived on 1 hit point. Oh my god, that's a lot of tanks. So he's consistently forgetting. Remember, if you want to drone after 66 drones, change the rally point. We're consistently wasting APM, Maynarding workers from all 3 bases. At this stage of the game, we can't waste APM on that. Does have his macro hatches in the new base, right? Jesus, this drone count is obscene. Oh my lord. 98. Let's go on full psychopath mode, guys. You've seen its mech, so you really need to go that Hive and Spire. Infestors aren't going to help us much versus mech.
Okay.
Oh my god. He's so lucky these tanks from hellbats weren't pre-morphed. We got very lucky there. Lucky he was not pre-morphed, pre-spread, or pre-sieged. And we didn't see that coming across the map. So definitely something where we've actually droned up to 98 workers this game. You know, you can go counter push with this Remax, by the way. You know, make as many Banelings as you can and just try to jump on him because you just killed a huge army. And you have literally unlimited money and not that much supply to work with since your economy is crazy. We should obviously be taking, you know, endless hatcheries and teching up to broodlords and all that stuff, but definitely something where in this middle stage we're very slow to kind of start getting these map spotters out, you know, these units out to see these pushes coming. Once it gets to big armies, it's so important that we stop these siege tanks getting in these brutal positions. You know, if that was a line of pre-spread siege tanks, that fight could have looked totally different.
I don't know about that. Okay, sounds good.
Yep. I mean, you know, you might be able to attack in there, but definitely you'd want to be pre-spread and maybe have the rocks down and that sort of stuff. But, like, you really want to have units spotting all of his potential expansions and not letting those get down. And obviously we want to be going up to that broodlord tech and adding in these more and more upgrades as we get to this next stage. Against mech, it's very important to usually have expansions on both sides of the map.
Okay.
Just so, you know, you can run drones away if you need to. So we should have, yeah, multiple expansions at the left-hand side of the map as well, but let's see what you can do. You've got to make sure he doesn't get up more bases for free, so, you know, you should always just be like, yeah, even if it's just deselect a Ling or a Hydra to each expansion, put out some spotters on the map, break down the rocks to open up the paths everywhere, and who knows, maybe just put down a ton of static D so you can free up supply, because you've got to make broodlords and finish this game. We don't want to just be sitting here on max money, you know. Great Aspire's already almost done.
Our forces are under attack.
Awesome. Got a base and cleared up the supply. So yeah, get those corruptors out, you know, get that static D we were talking about, as well as try to get down there.
Mineral field depleted.
Yeah, Windbreaker's on almost pure tank. He's building Vikings now, but it's a bit too little too late. Slow to add the upgrades and everything. So Windbreaker, it's like getting a lot of units, but will be invalidated once broodlords hit the field. So that's the problem with Windbreaker kind of not being tight in terms of the goals. So I can see Windbreaker winning a lot of games by drowning down the opponents, but then losing certain games like this one if the opponents go up to a high enough tech. I don't think you should ever put your Corruptors on the same hotkey as your Broodlords, because your Broodlords want to be stutter stepping, and you never want to stutter step back and forwards with Corruptors, or very rarely. Dux Falcone, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub, dude. Appreciate the 7-month resub. Yeah. You know what, the Corruptors on the other hotkey could work there. It's just the main army control really sucked in that fight.
Under attack.
They went way too far forward. Main army YOLO'd in front too much in the brood fight. Be patient and keep pulling them back. As long as your Corruptors can match the Vikings, no need to go in with Hydras unless their whole army runs forward.
Our forces are under attack.
Need more spotting drones. Spotting units on expansions and attack paths. Verse mech really needed to rush
All right.
to hive faster. Especially if it's such a big economy.
Oh, I should have stayed in again. Whoops.
Don't worry about it, man. No, that's all good. I was just writing some notes, so I wasn't unmuting my mic there. Good stuff there. Good stuff, dude. So definitely, we're getting kind of in control of these games. Yeah, forgetting the spore crawler, definitely a little, a bit of a habit we've got to kind of kick there. We've got to kind of focus on that as much as we can. Luckily, it didn't affect us because his banshees were often very late.
I didn't mean to go up to 100 workers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoops.
98. Casual 98. It was yeah. So there's a thing which happens where basically when you're taking you saturate 3 bases, but then you forget to change your rally points. Because what happens, right, is you've changed all your rally points back to each hatchery to finish off the saturation. So we're gonna see it at about 6 minutes, I believe. Yeah, you go around. Your main rallies back to its hatchery. Your front base actually didn't rally back to itself, but it still rallied to the in-base third. So we're going to top off the saturation about 6 minutes 30 in this replay. Yeah. And you've changed the rally points all back to their own hatcheries. And then I think some hatcheries are rallied to the 4th. And then actually you do rally all your hatcheries to the 4th. What the fuck? But then you build another 20 drones. But
Yeah,
I swear they didn't rally to the 4th. Or maybe I just caught it. And they did automatically rally there. Let's see. 24, holy shitballs. That's great. Yeah, definitely. Wow, 24 drones at once is what you built for the 4th. That's yeah. That's awesome. So yeah, definitely went a bit higher on the economy than was needed now, especially when if you're gonna, really go for a bigger economy style, it's very important to really beeline towards broodlords or some sort of higher tech, right? Because you just don't have that much supply for your army. But yeah, one thing here in this middle stage is like, there's not that much to be focusing on. You were kind of like getting like infestors and stuff. You were spreading creep okay, but like your army should be kind of out on the map, intercepting anything that comes your way. You should be out there seeing his push that came out. Like at 10 minutes, he pushed out with his tank Hellion army. Thankfully for you, he didn't scan ahead. He made the classic Terran crime of not scanning ahead of his army. Not early enough anyway, and even when he did scan, he took way too long to kind of siege everything up. But we should have been engaging this army 2/3 of the way across the map on his side when he's first pushing out. Force the siege up there, pull back. Buy yourself many minutes of extra time before he gets to your base.
Okay. I try to make it a rule of thumb not to leave creep until I'm ready to attack.
You shouldn't, but when you see his army moving out, you should always be moving up to that. Against mech 100% of the time, right? Because you can always force the siege up, and either you need a little bit of extra time before you can fight him, which means you want to be out there. Against bio, I can understand not pushing off creep as much, but even then, you want to intercept him like out front of creep at least a little bit to try and slow them down, right? You want to slow this push so you can set up a flank, or so you can get out another round of units or two, because that's so important. To not allow him to just... What he wants to do is he wants to go, okay, my army's ready, and I want to instantly have it set up in the perfect position so I can force my opponent to fight into me. But if you can delay that by a minute or so, it gives you so much time to set up the flanks, to get out more units. And especially against mech, you should always be doing this because they just can't chase your army down. Against bio, it's definitely something you want to be a little bit more careful with. You don't want to be like, hey, here's 20 Hydras, let's go off creep. I don't even have any Banelings morphed. And they just like stim and jump on your Hydras and kill the valuable part of your army. You've got to be a little more careful. So against bio, really good instinct to not go off creep, but against mech, you want to definitely get out there, abuse their immobility, abuse the fact that they want to siege up. You'll see in my games when I'm playing Terran on stream, I'm like constantly people running around me with roaches and hydras or Hydra Ling-Bane, and they're just like forcing me to siege and counterattacking and refusing to like let me just move my army across the map and siege it up. And that's like where the whole challenge comes from, and interaction on both sides.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, because your army is like so good, Hydrabane, if you're ready and you've got the right angle, but it can be very fragile as well. So yeah, very important to get those good positions.
There was a point where you said you've seen that he's going mech, so start doing your thing. I must have missed something. I did not identify that he was going mech until that push hit me.
Oh, really? Okay, check this. I'll show you. Because I was on your camera.
Okay.
So you saw 7 siege tanks behind his wall at his front base kill your Zerglings. It's going to be at about 7:30.
Oh, okay. I did see that. I just didn't connect the dots, I guess.
It happens, yep. I thought that might be the case. Yeah. Because I remember I was on your camera, so I did know he was going mech, but I remember I was just like, ooh, okay, not 7, but 5. 5 siege tanks, still. Or 6. Yeah. Definitely a mech army there, so definitely something where we wanted to kind of have that in mind. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Awesome, man. Okay, so unfortunately we don't have time to go through the little unit testery thing, but I think you did really well with the hellbat micro before. And I'm going to link you a video showing it. It's a very old video. It's been the same sort of micro. Nothing's changed on the units.
Okay.
Defending hellbat banshee with queens. Hellbat banshee push defense with queens. Here it is. Found it. Cool. So I'm going to link that up to you. I'm going to link it in chat as well.
Awesome.
Let me... Where'd it go? I'll just link it to you on Discord. It's just a quick little video where it just shows me defending it. I don't know if it's even a replay. I'll show it on stream at the same time. I think you're progressing quite well. I think what's really funny with the rule of 1 gas is it's a build which struggles for a lot of players with swapping from I'm sitting back and building drones to I'm getting on the map and I'm being aggressive. I really like playing mutas with this style because I kind of have to get out there a bit more aggressive once my mutas hit the field. So even though it is a very extended period of economy building, I have quite a bit of urgency to get out those mutas and push to his side of the map and start making plays and that sort of stuff. And I think that's really cool. Oh, this is a Railgun video I linked you. Oh, whoops, that's not mine. It's probably correct. Why is this not showing up with my video? Big StarCraft. Hellbat Queen defense. Let's see. Such an old video. How to defend Hellbats. It's just like not gonna show up. GG. GG. I gotta like actually go to my YouTube channel and manually search it there. It's like a 4-year-old video. I guess it just doesn't show up in the algorithms anymore. Fair enough. Here we go. Found it. I will link it in chat.
Awesome. And
I will
Blizzard chat.
I'll link it to you in Discord. There we go.
Discord.
The
Awesome.
the Railgun video I'm sure is valuable. I just haven't watched it, so I'm not gonna watch it now. Timov, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub 5 months in a row. I appreciate that. So yeah, basically I'll just talk you through it because I'm gonna talk it through to the stream anyway before we say goodbyes. Basically, just to rehash, and you can watch the video at the same time. What happens is I'm like, oh, what the fuck? A bunch of banshees and hellbats come out. Luckily, I have a spore at the front, which obviously makes my life way easier. But it's mostly the hellbats that are the problem, where I'm like, okay, I've got like 4 queens. And what you're going to see is my queens kind of like, they kind of go walkabout. Like one of them actually runs past the hellbats and micros behind them, basically saying, if you want to kill me, you got to chase me this way. And that pulls it away from the drones, away from the reinforce, and allows my other queens to spread out. And this is like a very kind of like, the reason I remember I highlighted this video is it's like, well, this is not where I'd like to be against this. I'd like to have more queens, and I'd like to have spotted this earlier and pulled my queens to the front. But I was just like, oh, what the frack? When did these morph into hellbats? But you'll see there's a lot of just pulling back individual queens and always trying to spread them into a concave. If you can have a concave of queens, that's good because you got surface area, right? So everything attacking at once, basic concave theory. The convex, they can't all attack at once, right? They've got to kind of like push further in to get into contact. If your concave is then a flexible concave, where you're never moving your queens on the whole control group once you've engaged, right? You're individually pulling them back. What does the concave do? The concave expands which point of the concave do the hellbats chase? If they all want to stay together in a clump, which is what they just want to do. That's what hellbats want to do because they're hellbats. If they want to do that, they to stop zerglings surrounding them and actually being effective, they need to all stay together and they need to follow a single queen. They can only follow one point of that ever-expanding concave. And the concave sometimes, like, if all the hellbats keep following one bit, the wings of the concave can actually, like, collapse all around kind of almost behind the hellbats because you're following this theory of the queens are constantly attacking and they're just trying to stay spread out. So we basically just want to have the queens constantly attacking while never giving the hellbats opportunity to hit more than one queen at a time. And we also want to basically make it more and more tempting at the same time to say, break formation, dude. These queens are like just in this circle around you almost. That's kind of what the concave ends up being. Just A move. And the moment they A move and the hellbats fragment in many different directions, because your queens are spread a lot, your zerglings can A move and surround them. Individual hellbats suck versus zerglings. But the problem, if your queens pull back, even if they break formation a little bit, if your queens are only in two clumps of 4 hellbats, for instance, is still going to be a zergling nightmare, right? Whereas you get 1 or just 2 hellbats on their own, suddenly it's like, okay, the zerglings can A-move and deal with this. We also have, of course, zerglings intercept reinforcing hellions is such a big thing because they're very fragile. Otherwise, they just kind of rock up behind the hellbats, morph into hellbats themselves, and you're like, oh god, I've killed 2 hellbats, here's another 2. So it's cool to just think about this because once you realize if you can just calmly pull these queens back in these different directions, you can deal with hellbats with just heavy queen, drop some transfuses, and it works out really nicely. Okay,
that makes sense.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Good shit, my man. Yeah, and if you're ever in a desperate position, obviously sometimes it's like, this is a lot of hellbats. Often just bringing your inject queens to the front as well is the way to really deal with it. If you're not super confident against hellbat pressure, you can just make that as a muscle memory. Select that group, add it into your creep defense group, and just A-move it to the front straight away. And that way you'll have extra queens kind of joining in halfway through the battle to make sure you seal the deal.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Have a good night, man. Good luck in your practice. Sick macro. Just, make sure once you get your third fully up saturated, you don't need to like fully drone your fourth, but yeah, if you do want to build some drones there, that's great. Transfer some drones. I think more importantly is like try to focus on you're already macroing well. Don't think about necessarily I've got to fully saturate that fourth. You can even think of it as just a transitionary base to some extent, depending on how the economy in the game's going. Maybe only build 7 or 8 drones for it. The rest can get transferred. But I want you to have more Ling spotters on the map, more map control. Especially against mech, I want you to be slowing down those push-outs. And I want you to be flanking every game against mech. And against bio, when you get the opportunity, especially against these tank pushes, the more you flank against them, the more you can absolutely crush through. So if there's 2 overarching things, it is better map control and kind of asserting yourself on the map once we get to the mid-game, and then flanking in the big engagements. And that's really going to take your engagements to the next level, hopefully take your ZvT to the next level.
Okay, awesome, man.
All right, have a great night, man. Hit me up with any other questions, and whenever you want to set up another one. Catch you later, dude.
Catch you later. Peace out.